You're very welcome. Nice to be with you all here today. I just want to start really by just remembering somebody who isn't with us this year, who was part of our group, if you will, last year, and it's Anne Copeland, who sadly passed away during the year. But she was very much an integral part of this particular event, and indeed of this particular organisation. And maybe just in her absence, a little round of applause for her in memory of her today. Now, we have many people here today who are worthy recipients, and as you can hear already at the front of the house, the first recipients are in no mood to wait any longer. And we'll come to them as quick as we possibly can, but that's enough about Jim Bartley. But still, we'll get there as soon as we can. So we have worthy recipients. We have an event like this today, which is very special, which honours people who have gone above and beyond, and people who have shown great courage and great commitment and great ability to keep themselves going, and to the people around them who've kept them going. And it's a very special day. So now, we're all set, lads, and we're going to start our event, because we want to honour each and every one of the recipients who are here with us today. The only common bond that they all share is the fact that they have had a stroke. That is the only common bond. And the fact that we have people here today who are very young and who are less young tells you a story in itself about stroke and the effect that it has on people and indeed on families. But they're inspirational stories. We'll have a little clip to show representing each of our recipients. The first group that I want to mention today is, well, I want to mention Leo McGarry, who is our Children's Courage Award winner, and Leo's family. And Leo was only a baby in June of this year when he was struck by stroke, only a baby. And his stroke was a result of a rare complication from chickenpox, which left him with full left side paralysis. And thankfully, after 5 weeks in Temple Street, he's made an amazing recovery. His spirit, his laughter, his joy. We were swinging him outside. He didn't say a word. And we got him out of the tree eventually, which was marvellous. But for his incredible fortitude as a little man in overcoming a stroke with a smile, Leo wins the Children's Courage Award. So before he comes up with his family, have a look at this clip, this video package about Leo.
We're the Gary family. We're from Ashburn. I'm Neve, this is Ronan, Alice was 4, and Leo is 21 months. Alice was born, and then 3 years later Leo was born. So the first 16 months of his life were very normal. He's very active, full of chat, as you can see. What's this? I saw the stroke.ie have a page, and they had the winners from last year, so I just was literally reading. I'm literally doing so much research about strokes and paediatric stroke and chickenpox and all this stuff. So I filled in a 3-line kind of little synopsis of like what we had been through and what Leo had done. So they contacted me kind of in the end of September and said that they'd had some review board and Leo had won the Childhood Bravery Award for this. So Alice had chickenpox first, about February, and then Leo had chickenpox in March. His was markedly different, worse, but he was very out of sorts. We didn't know anything was wrong. We thought he had a bug. And then at about kind of 5:30, 6 o'clock, Roland left for work, and I noticed that he was kind of moving on my bed, and he was kind of moving in a circular direction. I definitely knew straight away there was something wrong. It was not anything I'd ever seen before. Alice has been sick a million times. He was like, kind of head was very loose and his eyes were rolling, and he just, definitely not something I was happy with at all. So we went straight to the research room in Temple Street, and about 2 hours later, after they did all the checks, they did a CT scan, and they took Ronan and I into the family room and said that he had a stroke. We were 5 weeks in total in Temple Street. 3 weeks of that was his treatment plan for a 21-day antiviral course for the stroke, and steroids to reduce the swelling in his brain. But by Wednesday morning, Ronan had gone home and I was there on my own, and he stood in the cot and he held the rail. And I wrote this, I just said I felt like it was better than the first time he stood, because he was putting weight on his leg and he was holding on with his hands. Ronan's mum and my mum and dad were amazing. They literally were there like twice and 3 times a day, visiting, like first thing in the morning to last thing at night. So they really helped us get through it. And my sister, well, they were just literally, our whole family's visited. Like I think we had like world record number of visitors in Temple Street. It was getting ridiculous at sometimes. Yeah, she was here when it happened, so my sister came very quickly and kind of dealt with her so that she didn't see too much of it and took her to her house. So she coped really, really well. If you had told me what would have happened, I would have been very, very, very nervous, but I had to concentrate on one child, and she coped very well. His favourite things are Barney and tractors, and a lot of Peppa, so. And hurling. We have a lot of hurling. I don't know what he's going to be like in the future, but that is the way he is. He copes like that. He's very strong, he's very resilient, and he's very carefree. And I guess those are qualities that if you're going to have a stroke, that's exactly what you need to come back from it. So it's been the worst 6 months, but in some ways I have to look back and nearly think, it's been amazing. Like, it's been the worst journey of our lives, yet we've come out. He's well, he's great, and we've learned a lot.
There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, there's young Leo Gary. Ladies and gentlemen, well done. Well done. Diana, you're no stranger to children, obviously, because it's not long since you were one, did you? But in fairness, a little guy like him, that's quite something, isn't it, to have happened to him at this early stage?
Yes, it is. I would usually associate strokes with people of a more mature age, so his recovery is absolutely amazing, and he's been such a brave little soldier, and to see him outside today smiling and hurling with sticks is really, really nice.
That's fantastic, isn't
He's been amazing.
He really has.
Yeah.
And from your point of view, obviously this was a heartbreak, because it's hard to contemplate anything like this happening to a little guy.
Yeah, it's never something that's ever entered my head. I've never thought about it, or I've heard anything like it, so it's been a huge learning curve.
But he seems to be totally good now. I mean, is he? How is he generally?
Generally, he's fine. Like the way he was before. Like he just has, like, he only has to take aspirin once a day. And apart from that, you wouldn't really know. He still runs into doors and falls over things and climbs.
I don't want to bring up Jim Bartley early, but you're bringing it up yourself. The fact is, he's a little fella, and he's doing what little guys do, so he's all right then.
Yeah, he seems to be 100%, but we'll see further down the line there might be something, but
yes,
we'll deal with it the same way.
Well, you've been through an awful lot, and he's our child of courage. Thank you, Leila, and thank you. Well done to Leo, wherever he's gone. Alice, you'll have to get him back for his pet. Now, that's it, Leo Gary, Children's Courage Award for today. Our second winner is Kevin Martin, the Act Fast FAST award, who isn't here today. And with his wedding day less than a week away, Kevin Martin was struck with sudden right face and right arm weakness. And he found it difficult to speak. He immediately knew something was wrong, having seen the Irish Heart Foundation Fast TV ads, told his dad he was having a stroke. And his dad, Bernard, quickly phoned 999, and his son was brought to Connolly Hospital in Blanchardstown. And there Kevin was assessed before being transferred to the Mater Hospital to receive the clot-busting treatment, thrombolysis. Kevin's condition improved greatly in just a few hours, and by the next day his arm weakness was back to normal and he was discharged. And just 4 days after being struck down with stroke, Kevin walked down the aisle that Saturday to get married. And for his quick thinking, Kevin Martin wins the Act Fast award. Now, unfortunately, Kevin is unable to join us today, so I want to call on his dad, Bernard, to collect the award on his behalf. Just before we do, let's have a look at the video package of Kevin.
Hi, my name is Susie Doyle. I'm the emergency stroke nurse in A&E in the Mater Hospital, and I'd like to nominate Kevin Martin for the Act Fast Award.
I'd proposed to Sienna in the February. We said we'd get married in August because that was exactly a year and a half to when.
In January.
Yeah. Was it January?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was sending messages to me hand and me foot, and nothing was happening. So I thought, this is bizarre. So I managed to sort of sit up, and I was facing one way in the sitting room, and behind me was my TV cabinet, and the bottom of that is glass. So I thought, hang on a minute. So I turned around, and I managed to lean over and look at my face. So it was at that time that the fast ad kicked in. So I thought my face, one side of my body, you know, if it looks like stroke, feels like stroke, it is stroke.
Kevin, and the quick thinking of his dad, managed to ring 999 and come into hospital very quickly so that they could be assessed for his stroke.
I can't say enough for the Mater Stroke unit. They were professional, thoroughly professional. They brought me down, CT scan, then they brought me back. They were assessing me, and they said that there was a clot busting drug which they wanted to use because obviously I had a massive blood clot in the brain.
I received a call from his sister. He was just brought into the Mater hospital, and I thought that his dad was after having a stroke or something. So that was the reason Kevin was in hospital. Then, you know, it became quite clear it wasn't like that, and I was shocked.
He was given thrombolysis where he improved greatly and went home 3 days later to get married on Saturday.
When Professor Murphy on the Friday, he came in all professional and quite, not blasé, but blank, you know, giving nothing away. And he said, listen, you've had a tremendous recovery and we've no reason to keep you in the hospital. So we're letting you go home. Well, then it was a done deal that we were going to get married. He said that, I asked him, you know, so can I get married? And he was like, yeah, you can get married, but don't be needlessly tiring yourself out, so don't have a reception.
So on the back of the Act Fast campaign, if people come to hospital fast, as soon as they notice the face, arm, speech test, ring 999. If they come in early, then they can be assessed for the thrombolysis drug. Not everyone can receive it, but if they come in, they can be assessed by professionals and be deemed suitable or not.
I think the award should go to the producers of the Fast campaign, but more importantly, the ambulance crowd, or team, sorry, me father, and most especially the stroke team.
Here he is. That's Kevin Martin, Act Fast Award, who's not here today. But I want to call on Dr. Frances Horgan to accept the award on Kevin's behalf.
When we did look at his nomination, I mean, it really emphasised all the key points that we want to get across from the FAST campaign. Yes. The Irish Heart Foundation launched the FAST campaign just over 18 months ago, and as the clinical nurse specialist highlighted in the clip, we need to act fast if we see somebody demonstrating the signs of a stroke. Call 999, get to hospital for specialist care and for assessment.
But look at the power of that advertisement and the impact it had, and he's only one of many perhaps.
Yeah, and I mean, we need to communicate the FAST message to people of all ages, young and old, you know, because it's so important and it makes such a difference, because when someone is having a stroke, time is brain.
So our next award is the Adult Courage Award, and this award is, Jim, you'll be presenting it. Now you can relax for a sec. This is for Rose Gallagher, the Adult Courage Award. 12 years ago, on her 50th birthday, Rose Gallagher suffered a stroke. 1 minute she was enjoying her special day. The next, her daughter Andrea noticed that her face had fallen on one side. Her speech began to slur, and suddenly she collapsed to the ground. And for the first time in her life, Nurse Rose went from being the carer to being the cared for. And after the stroke, her speech, swallowing and limbs were badly affected, but Nurse Rose never gave up and never complained. Always practical, Rose has made sure all her family know how to do the Heimlich manoeuvre in case she chokes on her food. And as far as the Gallaghers are concerned, Rose is still their super mum. So for her undeniable compassion and valour, Rose Gallagher wins the first of our Adult Courage Awards. And here's a little package to have a look at.
And I'm the oldest of the three.
I'm Julianne, I'm the baby.
And I'm the middle, Claire. We nominated our mother for this award because we saw it in the local paper and we knew immediately this was the perfect award for her. She was a superwoman, and she still is a superwoman, but It's a woman who had a stroke in her prime and refused to let it beat her.
Just a great mother to the three of us, and we love her to bits.
Yeah.
And
overall, this is why we
overall,
believe that she deserves this award.
Yes, I was a very active person all my life. I lived life to the full. I enjoyed my teenage years, especially my nursing years.
When the stroke happened, Daddy, like the rest of us, all collapsed and fell apart because she was a strong person in the family. And without that oak and that core person in the family, the rest of the family does fall apart.
2007, that was 8 years later, I thought, Seamus, you're terrified. Every episode on the floor, gasping for a breath, thinking it was going to be your last. It was getting too much for Seamus. He had my back battered, so I taught him the Heimlich.
Dad's
And he's taken on board, and Mum has taught him the Heimlich and how to deal with her if she chokes in public. And he doesn't like it, but he takes it on board, and he knows it. Mum knows what she's talking about, and he gets actually very cross with us if we do anything to upset her.
very protective of her.
She lives her life to make sure that we are happy, and that now it's her grandchildren. She lives her life for them.
The greatest gift that God could have given me was my 4 grandchildren. They gave me so much peace, tranquility, and they're non-judgmental, which I love. They do face painting, hand painting. I teach them their alphabet. I teach them to do circles, squares. We do jig puzzles. We make lots of tea. We go upstairs and we use that as the cafeteria. And we have the tea set out upstairs.
I think if something like that happened, me in particular, I don't think I'd have been as strong and determined. And I think that's why she's our inspiration. Don't lie back and accept.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Yeah.
However, we are where we are. Mistakes will happen, and we don't look back. Just anybody. I am receiving this award, and it's not an award for me. It's an award for all the stroke victims in Ireland, and I really mean that. Get out there. Get the help. Don't be scared. Don't be embarrassed. It's only natural.
And if Rose would come up and join us. Now, you have that fine fella beside you as well. I see that young man of yours. How long are you together?
How long?
Child bride, I know, but still.
38 years?
Are you really?
Yes.
That's all right, isn't
39 next year.
But you see, the thing is, you've been the strong one all the time in this grouping, it seems.
Yes, I think nurse gives you that. I was always a sister in corner care and that, and you have big responsibilities, so you take a bit of that home with you.
Of course you do.
Yes.
And now you have to let a little of it go so that other people can be there for you.
Yes, but I have to tell everyone there's life after a stroke. You don't just give up. And I'm just starting now. I'm busier than ever with my grandchildren.
Now, Jim Bartley's going to come up and make the presentation to you. And we have the award. Oh, Jim has it. Good man, Jim. So now you get... Oh, welcome in as well. Oh, good girl, Rose. I like your style.
I didn't ask for you.
I know. Rose, congratulations.
Wanted to meet you.
Well, not in front of Seamus, Rose. Don't say that. Let that be between us.
Spent a lot of money in scratch cards.
Oh, you're right. You spent a lot of money, and there's been no news.
No, don't need to buy anymore.
You don't have 3 stars with you, and I'll slip them in the drum. Well done. Say nothing to nobody. Ladies and gentlemen, Rose Gallagher and her lovely husband. Well done. Thanks, Jim. Now, where are we off to now? Rose, you're great. Now, let's see where we're off to now. Our next recipient here this afternoon is the Hannon family. And I'll tell you about Pat Hannon, suffered a massive stroke at just 35 years of age. And again, this is the thing that I think is coming out today, if anything is coming out of all of this, is the fact that it's any age, It doesn't matter what your circumstances are, it's any age, and Pat Hannon suffered that stroke at 35. At the time, 3 of his 4 sons were aged 18 months, 4 years and 8 years. And Pat's stroke left him in a coma for 3 days and 3 nights, a frightening time for his wife Kathleen, with 3 young children to look after. Well, for a year, Pat attended the National Rehabilitation Hospital in Dún Laoghaire to help him overcome right-side paralysis. And during that time, despite not being able to speak properly and with limited mobility, Pat never missed coming home to his family every weekend in Limerick. He's made a great recovery. His wife Kathleen is back in college, and he drives her there and collects her along with doing all his own job. And Kathleen and Pat are both great advocates for stroke patients in Limerick, very involved in the Limerick Stroke Support Group and in a campaign to get a stroke unit in Limerick Regional Hospital. This is a bit like you're talking about from Donegal in the distance. For Pat's remarkable strength in overcoming the effects of his stroke and his family's tremendous support and love for him, the Hannons receive the Family Award. So a round of applause, please, just before we have a look at the video package.
This is the Hannon family, and this is our home, and we're here in Palace Kenry, and this is my dad, Pat, Adon, Kathleen, my mother, my nana, Noreen, and Erin, my godmother. Adon was only 18 months and I was only 4. Starting school on Monday, he couldn't bring me to the door.
Up in Dublin, he'd go to rehab. Mammy explained this wouldn't be bad. He would learn to walk and talk again, but his wheelchair was great for a spin.
Dad came home after a year. We were glad. We cheered and cheered. Our dog Sabre would sit under his feet and nap with him while he was asleep.
Time went by and Dad got well. He drove to town and shopping as well. A job he got for 3 days a week in centre people with disabilities.
Our dad is 1 in a million. We wouldn't swap him for a trillion. This award would mean so much to him as he was born on a leap year and is only 10.
Haha! Stroke is a very serious thing, but Dad is determined to fight it. He wouldn't let us win. Dad's incredible, super fantastic, and the rest please put him to the test as he means everything to us. Oh, stop. I'm on TV like.
Usually in this, actually, you refer to Pat as your knight in shining armour.
Yeah, well...
How many times do you tell him that?
Yeah. He's been fantastic to me. I mean, he's been like everything I've ever wanted, and even more like, it's been more real since he got sick, because it's not like we've been through really difficult times together. Things that like we thought were never going to be an issue in our life became an issue. We collected the dog on a Thursday and they came out to check us, and on Friday the dog was just sitting right at the patio door, and Pat came in from the bus to Dún Laoghaire, and he just looked at the dog, Sabre, the Labrador. He was a golden Labrador, and he said, "Lovely horse." And you know, stroke brings grief, and if you dwell in it, you can stay in it. But if you move on, it can be fantastic, you know. So that's it. That's my message.
And family for our Family Award today, who are here with us. And are you going to make your way up to us, if you would, please? And to make the presentation, I want to call on Brian Cullen, who is known to play a slight bit of football for Dublin, ladies and gentlemen. Will you give him a welcome as well, please? Give them all a welcome. it is true to be said, this is a family award, but it is, if you think about like teamwork, the sort of stuff you guys get involved in all the time, which is all about the next fellow beside you and minding him and him minding you. It's a bit like this, isn't it, about teamwork? It's what a family is in many ways.
Well, yeah, I mean, it really puts, I suppose, what we go through into perspective. I mean, I can only imagine what the Hannon family have been through, and I suppose to get through times of adversity, you really do need to pull together. And you know, it was a very moving clip, and you know, you're clearly a very, very happy family, very loving family. It's great to see you come through this time together.
Now, our next recipient is the Young Person's Courage Award, and the winner here is Jackie Brown. And it's tough being a teenager at the best of times, some of us might remember. It takes an exceptional young person to deal with the pressures of growing up, of school, but the effects of a stroke as well. At just 14, Jackie, who's now 25, suffered a stroke after what she thought was a bit of flu. Well, her headache and symptoms got so bad, her parents decided to bring her to A&E, where she collapsed walking in the door. She was then diagnosed with cerebritis, a brain infection, and had to undergo brain surgery just 5 days before Christmas 2000. Well, she woke up from an induced coma in January and couldn't walk or even sit up, and was breathing through a tube in her neck. After 8 months of hard work in the rehab hospital, Jackie was back walking. She returned to school and went on to lead a happy life by all accounts. But for her fortitude in overcoming a stroke at such a young age, Jackie Brown wins the first of our Young Person's Courage Awards. Ladies and gentlemen, Jackie Brown. Firstly, and then our package.
My name is Jackie. My namesake, Jackie Brown, my niece and also my goddaughter has been nominated for the Young Person's Bravery Award. Jackie's from Finglas South. She's from around the corner from my house here.
Well, I was a good girl anyway, but yeah, I went to school and I only started secondary school.
So it was 5 days before Christmas. Jackie was feeling a little bit unwell, kind of fluey, and it all happened so quick. Within a half an hour of feeling ill, she was rushed to the hospital and had a stroke on the way to the hospital, and had her second stroke before she got to the hospital.
Did you think people at 14 could have a stroke?
No, I didn't. I was all like, you know, you never get these things till they're like 50, like, and 60. It never happens, but it does, obviously. And just people living with it today, like.
She was so sick, and my biggest memory was Stephen's Day and looking at her there with the machines and everything, you know, plugged in. I thought we were saying goodbye to her.
I was in from Christmas till March in Beaumont, and then I went from Beaumont straight out to the rehab in Dunleary.
I remember her biggest thing was for her 15th birthday she was able to walk again.
Well, I went in on March, right, and I was in a wheelchair. I think by a week I'd be able to get myself from the wheelchair to the bed on my own. And by June I was up walking.
But she never moaned at all. She just smiled and got on with it, and her teachers loved her enthusiasm.
They said to me, the guys, if the school says to you, Grant, you can come back, you can go home. If they don't, you're staying here. The school said I could go back. Jackie was gone.
They helped her with laptops and special equipment, and she had an aide in her classroom as well. So she was really lucky.
I went back, not a bother to me, and I said, look, I'll do extra classes, whatever I have to do to catch up. But I'm staying in with my friends, I'm not going back a year at all. And they said, okay.
She's positive, and her belief is that there's life after a stroke. It's not, you know, it's not debilitating. It's not in any way for her debilitating. She finds it's just, this is her life, and this is the one that she has to live. It was just probably one of our nights on Facebook. We keep in contact through Facebook, through the social media. As we're the distance between Limerick and Dublin, I was a bit emotional that she was being nominated for an award. So I went in and clicked on the Irish Heart Foundation and decided to put my nomination in as well. At the moment she's really happy, and that's the main thing. She feels her life is quite complete at the moment.
Jackie Brown. Hello, Jackie. You're very determined, aren't you?
Yeah.
You truly are determined. No one missed that one, I tell you something.
No.
And how? Tell us the story of when you stayed in school and all that. How did that work out in the end?
Grand. Absolutely brilliant.
Yes, and you were happier, weren't you?
I was, yeah. She was back at home with my friends, normal again.
Yeah.
No one going to me, Jackie, I can't do this, you can't do that.
I'd say you're pretty determined to say you decide everything, do you?
Yeah.
Give a round of applause as we come up just to make the presentation to you. It's fantastic for you. Well done. Now, you're talking about determination here, aren't you? Because inspiration as well.
Yeah, her story is really, really inspirational. As you said, it's really difficult to be a teenager as it is, and to see how brave and courageous and strong you were is really amazing. And you obviously have a wonderful family behind you as well, which is obviously really, really important.
Who's with you here today? Have you got who's here?
My auntie Jackie.
Do you think Jackie?
Boyfriend Brendan.
Where's Brendan? She's Brendan. You're doing well. You know, but Brendan, you're not putting on a jacket today, Brendan. You're in your jumper, Jim. What do you like? Jackie, an inspiration. Well done. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for Jackie Brown, who is our Young Person's Courage Award recipient. We'll get a picture, don't worry. We'll get a picture. You'll have your time to put your jacket on, don't be worrying. So thank you for that, and thank you as well to Diana Bonucci for the presentation there. Now, our next award is it's Richard Napier and the North Cork Stroke Support Group Award, this section. Many stroke survivors will identify with the feeling of isolation and fear of the future that can follow after they're sent home from hospital. Well, having nobody to talk to who really understands what they're going through is obviously not a good thing. Thanks to Richard Napier and the staff in the Gilbert Centre in Mallow, that is no longer the bleak prospect for stroke survivors in North Cork. Having suffered a stroke himself at 27 years of age, Richard knows the issues facing stroke survivors. So at the end of 2010, he approached the HSE about setting up a support group in Mallow. The group launched in January this year with approximately 100 attending on the night, and the group now meets monthly in the Gilbert Centre, and Richard helps run the group through promotion, by arranging speakers and by organising outings for the members. For making a difference to stroke survivors who have nowhere else to turn, Richard Napier wins the Stroke Support Group Award. A round of applause please for Richard, and here's our piece of footage.
So my name is August Wilson, and I'm an occupational therapist working in the North Cork Primary Care team. I nominate Richard Napier for the Stroke Support Award because of his efforts in initiating the idea and his passion and dedication to the group ever since the launch in January 2011. So I guess initially there was a stroke support group was set up in Cork, which is about a half an hour drive from Mallow. And we were finding that not many people were attending that group because of the driving element. So after Richard approached the occupational therapy service, we decided to help him along with setting up the group. And yeah, so we meet once a month on a Wednesday, and the group sort of run themselves really. So
For my stroke, I actually wanted to be an occupational therapist in school. Of course, I didn't study hard enough. But I still got accepted in England, so I must have got enough points to get accepted in England.
I think Richard has a great dedication to supporting people anyway. He's a very friendly and sociable fellow, and he usually takes a role in the group in sort of facilitating it a little bit to try and get people talking. And he's very open with his account of what's happened during his last 10 years after having a stroke, and he's very open to offering information to people. He's always very passionate, and he always puts a bit of humour into the group as well, which is great.
The way I look at it, my mother, father supported me after my stroke. Only for them, I wouldn't even thought about setting it up. Because you're being selfish, set it up for someone else. Stop thinking about yourself. The man upstairs said you're not to be lectured and you're supposed to help people. So you decide that's it, you get the stroke. Come to mine. We support you, no matter what you want to know, we tell you. I just look at me, I'm a stroke survivor, so I made it to setting up a group. I never thought I would do it. All I said to myself, giving myself a slap in the head, just wake up, stop being selfish. There's other people worse than you. So I thank August for nominating me. And I knew I got nominated to make a phone call. You have to ring in the board. I didn't know what it was for. What? I couldn't believe it. You know, I said, what did I do to get it, like?
It's an inspiration. Richard Napier, ladies and gentlemen, and the North Cork Stroke Support Group. And there's Richard. And to present the award to him is Alan Brogan. Alan, if you come up and join us, please. Alan Brogan, ladies and gentlemen, who's here with us today. There'd be no point of rolling that on, we wouldn't get to see you in action. So you're bringing a bit of fun to the meetings as well, because they're serious meetings and they're important meetings, but you bring a bit of...
Well, I bring a bit of laughter to it, like, so they don't always feel down.
Yeah. Well, good for you.
I'm trying to get him to good mood. Just let them realise they're not doing them with strokes.
That's right. And in terms of the meetings and what goes on at them, do you have discussions about how people are and get a sense of how people are getting on, how they're coping, I suppose, is it?
We also do. We sit down, get them to talk about the problems. I might have a problem, I would say to you, you might have a stroke, you might have the same problem.
Sure.
You might be able to give me a situation where I can get myself out of it.
Yeah. And I might have been somewhere that you're heading to, so therefore I can help you the other way. He's a good fella, isn't he?
Yeah, he's obviously, I would imagine leaving the hospital after a stroke can be a lonely place, and like to provide that support, and I see there's 100 attending that group now is really making a difference down in Cork.
Well done to you. You're a great fella. Bit of an inspiration, I think.
Thanks for the award. I'd like to thank everybody who stood by me during my stroke.
And also, people are thanking you because you're standing by them through theirs. So well done. Richard Napier, ladies and gentlemen, well done. So now we move to our next award, and it is an Adult Courage Award, and Rachel Ahern is our recipient this time. She suffered a stroke when she was 28 whilst visiting her now husband's parents in Limerick in 2006. Mary, Rachel's mother-in-law, saw she was dragging her left leg. Rachel had also blurred vision and buzzing in her ears. Rachel, who is originally from Australia, was seriously ill, so her worried mum jumped straight on a flight from Sydney to be by her daughter's side, of course. But from very early on, Rachel was determined to make a good recovery through rehabilitation. Her spirits were lifted when Aidan, her husband, proposed to her in front of everyone while she was still in hospital. It's a great story. Rachel had a long road of rehabilitation ahead of her. She had to learn to walk again, but she pushed herself to the limit through rehab, swimming, walking and acupuncture. Well, her work paid off, and this year Rachel ran the women's mini marathon in Dublin. That's something. That's something. So for her strength and determination, Rachel Ahern wins the second of our Adult Courage Awards. And here she is up here, Rachel Ahern.
My name is Mary Ahern Murphy, and Rachel is my daughter-in-law. She's married to my eldest son. I would like to nominate her for the Adult Bravery Award.
I was born on the north coast of New South Wales, a small town called Burlington. Stayed there for roughly 7 years before then moving into central New South Wales, and moved around various towns there. At 15 I moved to Sydney, and then in 2001 moved to Ireland.
Aidan is my eldest son, and as I said, and he was on a flight to the USA on holidays with 3 of his buddies, and Rachel was sitting beside his best friend.
Yeah, that's how we met, on a flight to an Australian girl living in Dublin on a flight to New York, meeting a Limerick lad flying to New York.
So they got chatting on the flight, and when they arrived in New York, they parted, but they had exchanged hotels where they were staying.
And we organised to go sightseeing together in New York, and the rest is history.
On a weekend in Limerick, Rachel suffered blurred vision and some ringing and buzzing in her ears,
which could actually be heard from outside my head.
I noticed a deterioration in Rachel.
Mary noticed that I was dragging my left leg behind me. I wasn't really quite fully aware, although I was aware something wasn't quite right, I wasn't fully aware of the fact that I had started dragging my leg behind me.
So by this stage, I was beginning to panic, and so was poor Rachel. And by the time she was admitted, and a couple of hours later, she'd had a full-blown stroke and was unable to walk.
Lucky now, my mother, I don't know how she did it, but I spoke to her on that Monday night that I had the stroke, and I mean, I'll never forget the sound in her voice.
Her mum got on a flight and came from Sydney on her own, which was absolutely horrendous for her.
So I had the stroke on Monday night and my mother arrived on Wednesday evening. Now, anyone who's flown to Australia knows that there's pretty much only just enough time to get on a flight and get that far in that time.
Aidan decided we'll try and give Rachel a boost.
Yes, Aidan, who had pretty much been coasting along as men tend to do, thinking he had all of the time in the world,
got down and bent knee
in front of everyone in the hospital and asked me to marry him. I mean, it was a bit dramatic, I know, a bit of a dramatic way to get my boyfriend to propose to me, but it did work. This year I did the women's mini marathon, so it was my first time doing it. I really didn't know if I was capable.
Her determination and her courage and her fight has just been incredible.
I'd like to thank Mary for nominating me. I'd like to thank the Irish Heart Foundation for for choosing me. God knows why they did. And yeah, really thank everyone who's supported me.
What more can I say about Rach except she's just such a wonderful girl. Her fight, her determination, her courage, her strength just has been incredible to come back from such a serious illness.
Rachel Ahern, ladies and gentlemen. And Rachel is going to be presented with her award from Alan Brogan. If you would, Alan, if you come over. Give a race, see who gets up here first. That's quite something. You are quite something.
Am I?
You are. Well, I mean, look, to go from the stroke and all that entailed and everything else and rehabilitation, etc., and do a marathon, for God's sake.
Yeah, I'd just like to clarify that I walked. I didn't run.
It's okay. You know, but you were but you were there.
I made it.
How long did it take?
I wasn't too bad, actually. I thought I'd be last, but I was not. I was far from last.
Good for you. Good for you. She's something else, isn't she?
Yeah, I think you can see the positivity there in those clips. She hasn't stopped smiling in those clips since you've come up to here. And look, to run the mini marathon is an amazing feat. Or even to walk it. It's not something, to be honest, it's not something that I'd even dream of doing, running a marathon.
You do that every time you go out in a pitch, get off the stage, you.
No, look, to be honest, it is an amazing feat and well done. I think we can see the smiles here. Shows you
absolutely, yeah.
Has a very positive outlook.
You have, yeah, and he's right though, isn't he? It is a positive outlook that you have brought to what you do and what you have to deal with. As your mother-in-law has been saying, you're an inspiration. Now we go to the Carers Award, and I have some knowledge of the Carers Association and what they do, and what people who are carers do, and the selflessness of so many people in our country. Well, Tipperary native Mae Brown has been caring for her husband Dominic full time following a severe stroke back in 2003. She's up at 5:30 in the morning, doesn't stop until it's time for Dominic to go to bed around 8 o'clock in the evening. She washes, she dresses and feeds Dominic, and she gives him his medication every day. She only gets 1 hour of help every day to get Dominic out of bed in the morning, which means she has to put him to bed on her own in the evenings. For her selfless devotion and a love for her husband, Mae wins the Carers Award. Mae Brown, ladies and gentlemen, and here's our package.
My name is Louise and I'm from Kilnamack, Clonmel, County Tipperary, and I nominated my mother for the Carers Award, because from living at home I see firsthand all the work she does.
We just went out for about a year and we got married over in Ballybaker. And we just went away for a week. We went to Galway, just up to Galway for a week, and that was it. And then we're just living here since, and very, very few holidays. They were trying to get him out sooner and all this, and they'd pay for him for a week in a nursing home, so I said no, I want to look after him at home. So until I had the house ready for him, get bathroom done and all that, and get his room set up, I couldn't take him home.
She gets up at about 5:30 and she'd go in and she'd change him and take down his feed and give him his medication and all. And then he gets up officially then at 10. Around 10, a lady from over the road comes over. So she helps get him up, so I suppose that takes about an hour.
Mutter a few words, but he can write something for you. If you want to know something now, you know, and you ask him and he'll write it for you. But his speech, no interest, television, papers, he can't read it, so his sight is gone as well, kind of a bit. But his mind is perfect. So he just loves to sit there. That's the only place he likes to sit. He likes to sit out if the weather is nice, you know, in the yard as well. It is very warm outside the front door when you get a nice summer's day now. If he wants to go to bed, and he won't stop until he gets in sometimes.
You're no different like any other husband.
No. But I don't know, it's hard to know whether he's happy, or I suppose he is in his own way, he's happy enough. But he doesn't like going in on the respite. He can't wait to come out again. But I'd say nothing and just send him off, because otherwise I wouldn't manage. When the 3 weeks are up, I'm actually wrecked. Yeah, it's tough going, but sure, I'm not getting any younger either, and then all his stuff has to be collected, his diapers, his medication, and his feed, and all the things that go with it. So it's go all the time, you know. Whereas I'd love now if I was free today, go off to walk on a beach or do something like that. Or, you know, you can't do those things.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Cares Award this year is May Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, May Brown. Give a round of applause. Dave, how are you? You're welcome. You're welcome. Congratulations, firstly.
Thank you.
Jim Bartley's going to make the presentation.
Yeah.
I saw you chatting away to him there.
Yeah, with a great chat, yeah. Hello, Fair City.
Yeah, he's a good man for the chat too, isn't he?
Yeah.
Did you shout out Bell in the hallway when we came in? You did?
I did.
You did.
I did.
Unconditional love, and that's what you give.
Yeah, and it's rewarding to know that he's happy in his own home.
Yeah, and you know what? You know more than anyone in the world probably when he is happy or when he's uncomfortable, as you said on the.
Yeah.
But where he likes to sit and what he likes to do.
Yes, he hates going into respite.
Yeah.
You know, he just told him yesterday, just told him before he went that you're going on holidays. And he put up the two fingers like that, and he said.
Lovely fella altogether. That's a lovely. Did you get that in video? You did? Brilliant.
2 days.
Oh, 2 days. All right, yeah. That's what you're telling me. What you're telling me. Or maybe he's... Leave that to yourself now.
He thinks he's only going for 2 days, you said.
I understand, yes.
Yeah.
I still think he was giving you a different... No, I still think it was a different message potentially, but that's fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, here is your award from Jim Bartley. Now, accept that award. I
just say May sitting down there, but I tell you what, if you never had suffered a bout of humility in your life, you'd actually, this morning in particular, in May, she's sitting beside me there saying, "Oh God, it's getting soon now. Oh, it's getting soon now. No, you're all right now. Yeah, she's quite happy now. She was great. Yeah,
She was great.
Yeah.
And now you're going out with Jim Bartley for lunch in Rowley's, is that right?
Right, yeah.
That's right. And you'll be home eventually, isn't that the plan? There's no panic. Where is she down there? Is she down there? Where is she?
Louise and Anne and Trevor, I think, are down there.
Louise, come on up. Come on. Is that yeah? Louise, will you come up? Because you come on, Louise. Come on and get the shot taken with your. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Well done. Congratulations.
No bother.
You're obviously making Mum's life that bit easier, which is very important. So there you are. Now, our next winner is a Young Person's Courage Award, and it's Laura McInerney. And Laura was in her first weeks of studying to become a nurse when she had her brain hemorrhage. She woke up with a really bad headache and knew something was wrong. She then noticed that she couldn't move her hand or her leg, and also that she couldn't talk. So Laura is working hard to make a full recovery through rehab, and she remains upbeat despite such a big setback at a very young age. She's returned to college and is studying early childhood intervention in Mary Immaculate College in Limerick. And for her determination and positive outlook, Laura McInerney wins our second Young Person's Courage Award. Round of applause, please, for Laura McInerney.
My name is Marty Whelan. I'm a speech and language therapist working with the Limerick Community Rehab team. I have been Laura's key worker since she started with us, and I nominated her for the Young Person's Bravery Award because Laura has really shown sheer determination in terms of overcoming setbacks and uncertainties.
I was staying up in the dock for the weekend, and I was with my then boyfriend, and I just woke up and I had a really bad headache, and I never get headaches, so I knew there was something wrong, and went back to bed and got up, and I knew I couldn't move my hand and my leg, so we knew we had to ring the ambulance. I couldn't talk.
Actually, it was probably very surreal at the time. I don't think we realised how bad things were when we first got the phone call. We just didn't realise. We got into the car, went up straight away, and it wasn't until we got up there and saw her that's when it hit me. God, this is serious.
Mum would stay up in the environment, and Dad was up and down, and my friends were up and down.
We were lucky really in that, I had older kids, and my job as well allowed me to take the time off. So in that aspect, we were lucky really,
The nurses were like my family, and the physios, the OTs, the speech, everyone was so nice, and the patients were so nice.
She's never really gotten down. She's always been positive. She always just keeps, she's had her moments of tears, hasn't she, Brendan? A few moments, but she just keeps going.
And then I couldn't text. The text was really annoying. I had to get my sister to text for me.
She's brilliant really, and she works hard at it. She's back at college and she's very busy, as I said. She's college during the day, she does her physio at night, she studies, she's got to go into rehab in between, she's kept going. It's literally non-stop with her, but she's just a very good outlook on the whole thing, and she has stayed very positive the whole way.
And I still am, like my hand, I can move it, but it's not proper, and I still am working on it. And my leg is, I'm working on my speech. I have to work on my speech a bit more.
She has always approached her rehab with a high level of motivation, with optimism, has always been open to trying new things. This has helped greatly in terms of her being able to resume her studies.
And without that support that we've got from the medical people, I think we wouldn't have the result we have today out of it. They've been fantastic to us.
How are you feeling about today? You
good.
Yeah,
good.
It's good. Great courage. You have shown great courage and great fortitude and everything. You kind of went for it, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And your folks seem kind of proud of you too.
Yeah, they sure.
Now, this fellow over here is apparently some sort of god, they tell me. Do you find him up close attractive in any way.
Yeah, definitely.
It is a bit of a worry. And there's no point. It's like the elephant in the room, Michael. You know what I mean? You may as well say it now. You may as well say it. It's the elephant in the room. I'm mortified you now as well. I'm sorry. Would you like to get a picture taken with him? Yeah. To annoy everybody you've ever met in the past. Absolutely. Now, we could pretend you're somewhere else, but we won't. We'll put you in the front. You are fantastic, I have to say, because it is about determination. We're talking about everybody who's here today and Rose and everybody else, but it is about determination and not being afraid, isn't it?
It is, and strong and brave and just positive.
Yeah. Not letting it beat you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, good for you. Give a round of applause. That's fantastic. You're fantastic. Can you get your picture? He's promised to another, but don't mind that. Ladies and gentlemen, Laura McInerney, Young Person's Courage Award. Well done, Laura. Well done. Thanks, Brian. Now we come to our 10th and final award. This is our Stroke Champion Award. And to make the presentation, I want to call on Colin Edwards from Boehringer Ingelheim to come and do you want to say a few words? Give our main sponsor here this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, Colin Edwards. Give him a round of applause if you wouldn't mind.
We at Boehringer Ingelheim, we're very, very pleased to be associated with today's event, honouring those people of all ages and their carers who fought hard to overcome the effects of a stroke, and those who tirelessly care and campaign for those patients and their families who suffered a stroke. Now, Professor Des O'Neill has been a pioneer in promoting better services for people with stroke in Ireland for over 2 decades, and after some very important work in the early 90s, which was assessing the needs of stroke patients and the treatments available. He set up the first acute stroke service in Ireland in Tala. And this service has gone from strength to strength and is the benchmark and has led the way in the development of stroke services for patients in Ireland. In 2008, he was the principal investigator of the Irish Heart Foundation's National Stroke Audit, which revealed the appalling lack of services for stroke patients in Ireland. And he regularly contributes to academic publications on all aspects of stroke care. And he's an extremely strong advocate for the care of stroke patients and for the care and rights of older patients and older people in Ireland. So for his continuous devotion and unsurpassed contribution to the cause of stroke patients and their families, Professor Des O'Neill is a very deserved winner of the Boehringer Ingelheim Stroke Champion Award, and I'd like to present the award to them and congratulate him.
I'm Dr. Ronan Collins, a consultant geriatrician and stroke physician and Director of Stroke Services at Tala Hospital. It gives me great pleasure to nominate Professor Desmond O'Neill for the Boehringer Ingelheim Irish Heart Foundation Stroke Champion Award 2011.
Thanks very much. It's a great honour to be nominated for this award, and certainly it represents a lot of work by a lot of other people as well, so really it's a representational award in many ways. It's hard to believe now how primitive and underdeveloped services were for stroke. We started the first acute service for stroke in the Meath Hospital, Dr. Patricia McCormick and myself, and at that time nobody seemed to be taking stroke very seriously.
Des has been a pioneer and advocate for stroke throughout his working life, and I have worked with him for over 15 years, and throughout that time he has been tireless in the development and promotion of stroke services and better rehabilitation services for older people and all people suffering from stroke.
The FAST campaign has been a great success, and it's success not only because it gets more people to come to the hospital to have the clot-busting drugs, but it raises general awareness of stroke as an illness for which we can do something.
He's been a tireless advocate in also waking the government up to our lack of stroke services, and with his work with Francis Horgan, Hannah McGee, Sean Murphy and many others with the RCSI, led the first Irish National Audit of Stroke Care study in 2007.
The only good thing I would say about Ireland in terms of other countries was that there was an enormous will to improve things. So when we founded the Council on Stroke in 1997, it became the best attended council in the Irish Heart Foundation because there was such a hunger among the professionals to get better services going, not only in the hospital but also in the community and also in long-term care and nursing homes.
He has been a leading figure in Trinity in putting stroke very firmly on the curriculum for medical students, has been a tireless worker in promoting stroke through the national literature and press and creating greater public awareness around SANE.
Our biggest hope for the future of stroke services is that they will be coordinated, and it was perhaps one of the less dramatic but one of the most important findings of the National Audit on Stroke is that in a given area is there somebody who will be accountable for provision of services not only in the hospital, which is in some ways more easily measured, but also out there in the community.
It's been a great pleasure to be working with Des over the last 15 years, both as his student and as he's now as his colleague, and it gives me great pleasure to nominate him for this award, for which I feel he is truly deserving.
I do think is that with the increased amount of early support, we're going to find more people getting back to fit, healthy and normal life.
Thanks very much indeed. It is a huge privilege and honour to be awarded this year, and certainly the stories we've heard this morning have very much again are a fantastic reminder to us that really we're there to help and support and sustain people, but they do the fighting, and really it's a privilege to work in this area. And again I think it's the outlook across the age barrier. What really astounds me is the will to fight, the will to overcome. And again, I think humour was a thing that came through as well. Humour is a huge part of how people adapt and change. This award really is for a whole load of people. And first and foremost, I'd like to thank my wife Mary, who's down in the audience here, and my family. And the people who got stroke off the ground in terms of services were the Council on Stroke, people like Francis Horgan here, and a whole range of people who all did it in voluntary time after hours. We meet generally on a Wednesday at 5:30. People came from all over corners of the country, so their families hugely supported them, and my wife and my children saw less of me. Maybe that was a good thing, but not really, no. So for both my wife and children, but everybody's spouses, partners and supports, this would not have been possible without that. And I think a big bula bus for the Stroke Council and their supporters. Personally, I'd like to thank my colleagues in Tala hugely. It ate into our time, and although we've made great strides, and it was a great pleasure to work with them, but particularly Dr. Ronan Collins and Dr. Tara Coughlin, it's been an absolute pleasure to work with them. And in addition, a great support from our colleagues in urology, such as Dr. Dominic McCabe, and again Jim on the radio and the paper this morning was talking about Bridget Egan, Sean Tierney and Martin Feely, our colleagues in vascular surgery. So a great team in Tala Hospital. But lastly, there are those who are no longer with us, and I think the constant, like Jiminy Cricket in Pinocchio, or like the little angel in Don Camillo, the most important thing was always to be brought back to the real experience of patients. And in the stroke, there's two people who are no longer with us. There was Mick Doyle, the former coach of the Irish rugby team, and I'm a naïf, I know very little about rugby. People said, we're getting Mick Doyle, and I was going, who's Mick Doyle? But as it turned out, he was a fantastic force to us and greatly missed, and was wonderfully blunt. And that's a great, he was humorous and he was blunt, and he put it as it was. And sometimes we as professionals, we tend to think because we've made some smallish step that we've done a lot for people, and Mick was great at anchoring us and saying, there's a little done, a lot to do. And lastly, a big word of appreciation, and to say how much we hugely miss Anne Copeland. She really was the pioneer. I mean, we did the professionals bit with the volunteer stroke scheme. She was the first person to bring people together and to show that actually perhaps one of the most important helps after stroke is the experiences of other people with stroke. So we all miss her very much, but she contributed hugely, and in many senses I feel I'm carrying on from where she left off. Thank you very much indeed.
Well, thank you. President O'Neill, thank you.